Hi, I'm Anynewprovince, and is this possibly Pauper playable? That's the question I want to answer about Costly Plunder from Ixalan. I know you thought we were done with Ixalan, but we're back for another week and I've got another spicy brew for you. Today I'm going to tell you about the different decks that I tried Costly Plunder out in, and then I'm going to tell you about this Golgari Midrange shell that I ended up settling on for this week's videos. Hopefully by the end of the deck tech you agree with how I use this card, but if you don't, please put it down in the comments below. This is a growing process and all of your feedback is greatly appreciated. When Costly Plunder was spoiled, everyone was comparing it to Altar's Reap. It's a strictly better Altar's Reap. Can you imagine sacrificing Ichor Wellspring to this card? I can definitely imagine sacrificing Ichor Wellsprings to Costly Plunders, so that's where I started with a lot of my decks. I run 4 Costly Plunders and 4 Ichor Wellsprings as sort of a package. They work really well together, and I think it's best if you try to leverage their synergies with other cards. The first thing I tried was a sort of Jund mid-range grind 'em out style deck with Putrid Leeches and Kultotha Rebirth, and I was even using some of the Revolt Draw card 3-drop. It turned out to work a lot like most of my 3-color decks. The mana was pretty weak, and it was super low on win conditions. I also tried a black-green sacrifice style deck with Carrion Feeders and Brindle Shoats and Young Wolves with Rancors to back them up. This was a lot of fun, but it was really inconsistent. It was hard running the other artifact sacrifice cards with only 19 lands as the stock black-green sacrifice decks usually want to run. I even tried out Costly Plunder in a sort of Mardu Monarch shell using Core Skyfishers and Glint Hawks to pick up my Ichor Wellsprings before finally sacrificing them to draw more cards with Costly Plunder, but this turned out to be more inconsistent than its mother deck Boros Monarch, so I ended up not playing it because the mana was inconsistent and it was kind of lacking on that punch and burn spell kind of flair that Boros Monarch has. So that's how I ended up with this Golgari mid-range shell. It can gain a bunch of life, it can draw a bunch of cards, and it can eventually dirtle its way to a victory with a big trampoline beater. So now that you've heard how I got here, why don't I explain the deck to you? I'm going to start with the Artifact Sacrifice package, which is the highlight of this deck. We use Costly Plunder, which says, as an additional cost to cast Costly Plunder, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards. We use Ichor Wellspring as our main target, which is 2 generic mana and says, when Ichor Wellspring enters the battlefield or is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So we cast Ichor Wellspring, draw a card, sacrifice Ichor Wellspring to Costly Plunder, draw a card, and then draw 2 cards from Costly Plunder when it resolves. I also included Chromatic Stars, which can do a pretty good Ichor Wellspring impression. They also do some other stuff like fix our mana or dig deeper if our land's being uncooperative. Rounding out our Artifact Sacrifice package is Mere Sire. This is a great card to sacrifice to Costly Plunder because it leaves back a 1/1 that can still block or be sacrificed again to another card that cares about that. Of course we can't durdle around sacrificing artifacts all day, so I've included some cards that get us to our late game early or prolong the game to a point where we can do powerful things. We have 4 Utopia Sprawls, which hopefully we can slap on a forest on turn 1 or turn 2 and start getting those 5 and 6 drops out earlier than we normally would be able to. We also have 3 Disfigures, just some standard black interaction to try to kill our opponent's early drops, and 3 Chainer's Edicts. We only have 3 because we don't want to hit too many of them, but we'll eventually have mana to make the first couple that we do use a little bit more effective. So what do you do with ramp removal and card draw? Well, of course, you throw in some trusty old Elmer's mid-range glue to bring everything together. We have 2 Pulse of Marasas, which grab a creature or a land out of our graveyard and gain us a bunch of life, which is actually more important for us in most cases. We also have 2 Penumbra Spiders that can reach up and grab those Delvers out of the air. We have 3 Thorn of the Black Rose for steamrolling value after we've controlled the board and gummed things up a bit. I chose our 4 win conditions because I kept dying early to aggro, getting milled out by blue-black, or going to time against Fogtron. That's why we have 2 Fangren Marauders to gain us life while we're chumping with our Mere Sires or sacrificing artifacts to Costly Plunders, 1 Evenkar's Justice so that in the late game we have a 7-mana deal 2 to everything and you, and a Lifecraft Cavalry, which is a huge 6/6 trample beater that we can recur with some of our other spells. Hopefully it's just that late game threat that gets in the points of damage that we have to. Alright, let's break down this mana base. We have 4 Evolving Wilds. We use these because we need revolt triggers for our Lifecraft Cavalry. We have 1 Colony Garden, which makes a little guy for us just in case we gotta chump right away or maybe protect ourselves for some Chainer's Edicts, flashback Chainer's Edicts. We have 4 Jungle Hollows, standard Pauper duels, gain us some life, come in tapped. We have 1 Golgari Rot Farm. This will recur some of our other value lands later on if we have to. We have 2 Bojuka Bogs to shut down Ghostly Flicker or Rancor when we can. We have 1 Ash Barrens. This is our 5th fetch just to make our mana that much more consistent for our Penumbra Spiders and our Evenkar's Justice. And we have 1 Barrenmoor. It's a cycling land that we can throw away if we don't need it. We also have 4 swamps and 5 forests. We have more forests because Utopia Sprawl needs a forest. That also kind of compensates for the 5 fetches we run in this deck. Alright, let's have a look at the sideboard. We have another Even Cards Justice, just to shore up those aggro matchups if we have to. We have 1 Doomblade. This is a better answer all threat against decks that aren't black. We have 2 Augur of Skulls and 2 Duresses as a discard package against Tron or Control. We have 3 Natural States. This is to blow up those pesky artifacts and affinity decks, and maybe we'll even bring this in to destroy a Journey to Nowhere now and then. We also have 2 Scattershot Archers. This is for fairies decks or decks that run fairies or Delver decks that have a couple of fairies in them, but basically I just want to kill all the fairies. We have 2 Moments Pieces as Fogs. If we have to get a little bit later just so that we can Even Cards Justice properly, we can Moments Piece, then Moments Piece again, and then Even Cards Justice at the perfect time. We finally have 2 Nihil Spell Bombs, and we're going to use this to exile just 1 player's graveyard because we have Moments Pieces and Chainer's Edicts that we don't want to get rid of. We also have cards that we'd like to get back with Pulse of Marasa, so that's why one-sided Relic of Progenitus is for us. So there it is, Costly Golgari Midrange. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them made, please like and subscribe below. It's a really great way to let me know that you're enjoying it, and it really encourages me to keep going. If you want to see us do this live, you can come to Possibly Pauper Playable at twitch.tv/Anynewprovince. We're there every Tuesday night. I hope you enjoyed how I used Costly Plunder in a deck, and if you have any suggestions for how Costly Plunder should be used, please go ahead and put them in the comments below. Like I said, all feedback is greatly appreciated. Thanks again, everybody. Hopefully I see you on Tuesday night, and have a great day.